Hey everyone, I am Emma Slate, and this is a day in the life of an agronomy intern. Okay, so obviously first thing I've got to do is go into the office. Morning, Tracy. Because I go to so many different fields during the day, I do like to favorite, which is where all of these orange stars are coming from. And then zoom in a little bit, try to find these fields. Perfect. Here's this field that we're gonna go to today. We're gonna go out there and look for different diseases, make sure there's a tar spot out in that field, and then see if there's any gray spot, any blight, or any high insect populations like Japanese beetles, or check for any rootworms or even any onset earworms. So let's get to ready. Before I got into the field, always make sure I have my notebook and pencil, because make that mistake one time, you never want to make it again. So, perfect. My notes from my seeds. Flip that over. Perfect. There is the pen and the pencil. Get those on there. Okay, perfect. And then I've got field. Get my water. Stay hydrated, people. Okay. Oh, okay. We're at the farmer's field. Gotta make sure I get my clipboard, my hand trowel, and my bag. Hey Jan, how are you?
Good.
Good.
How are you?
Good. I'm gonna look at some of your cornfields, and
Okay.
we're gonna go look. I think we're gonna try this one over here that has that Brevant number on it, and we're gonna go check for some diseases. I saw there's a couple fields that we found some tar spot in.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're gonna go. I'm gonna go out here, see if I can get some more.
Okay.
Make sure I don't get stuck out there. Okay, so we're gonna go into this cornfield right here. First, we're gonna start about 3-4 rows in, and then we'll start zigzagging, because when you try to scout a field and that field is a flat field or it has uneven ground on it, you don't want to scout in one area, because just because you don't see disease over here doesn't mean that we won't see disease down that way. First thing I'm gonna do, walk about 10 feet one way, 10 feet the other way, come back to about the middle, and then we'll get started in the field. Okay, we're going in. Okay, so brought out a couple examples to show the farmer. Kind of a recap of what we saw in there. There was lots of rust, there's some gray spot, there's some anthracnose, leaf blight, and then we also saw some Japanese beetles, and even some mites, and then a few other different chewing insects. But let's go talk to the farmer about what we saw. Prominent example instead of just a couple dots here and there.
Yeah.
But yeah, great example. Okay, let's go in the office and show Jim what we found and talk about a plan for the farmer. I'm going to show you first. This is what we saw in the field. This is what I believe to be gray spot. Yep. And then this one has smut on it.
Yep.
And it was growing right next to an ear, so I would definitely take an approach to make sure that we get it relatively soon so it doesn't continue growing into the ear. And then we also have, this one is a great example of the rust that's in that field, because usually it's just a couple spots until it starts developing. This one, it actually has it down a lot of these veins. And then this I found in the field, and in my opinion, I think that this is tar spot. but
would
I want you to
agree with
take a closer look.
Yep. So I agree with you, and if you feel it, you can feel the roughness.
Yep, yep,
And it doesn't rub off, and it's on both sides.
yep.
So yes, that is definitely a tar spot.
Okay, yep, I saw that one in his field, and I didn't catch it last time that we were in that field, but I'm glad that I went back out there to double check his field, because otherwise I could have missed that part.
Yep.
So-
We've had a couple more rains since then and more
Yep.
good weather, so yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely breeding time for tar spot.
Yep. So then the other part in that field is I also saw some Goss's wilt, there was Japanese beetles, there was mites in that field, and then there was also just some like corn flea beetles, which also kind of can make these kinds of spots, but not like that.
Okay.
Kind of things like that. So if I had to pick a couple of fungicides to treat this field with, I would probably go with Avaris if Jan needs kind of a cheaper option, but still very effective option. But since we found some tar spot, if he does want to go the more specific route, we could go with Approach Prima, since it's not too far out of his price range, but it's still a great option for tar spot and treating some of these other diseases that we saw, since we also saw some leaf blight in that field as well.
Okay.
And then since we saw some insects, I'd probably go with Brigade if you wanted to treat for those mites.
Okay.
The mites were going almost all the way up the corn plant. You could find them up top and on the bottom, which means that they've progressed quite far, in what I saw at least. And since they have to be treated with a very specific product, Brigade is probably the best option. But Soltris is also a great option to treat some of that corn flea beetle, those Japanese beetles, and some of those other things that we saw. I think if you look, some of this is mite damage.
Yeah.
Yep. So right in here on that leaf, this one also has some mite damage in there. You can see it right here.
Yep. Okay.
But yeah.
Good.
So.
You already talked to Jan about all of it? And
Yep, I sure did. Okay, perfect. Well, I just sent a report to the farmer, and that's about a wrap on my day. Have a great one.